Well, welcome to ColliTalks, transformative conversations. And as I always say, we're going to go deep. Tonight, we're going to go deep as a solo. And it's a necessary solo because of the fact that there's been so much information coming to me, at me, for me with regards to this specific topic. So I always like to go where the meat is, where people get what they really want. And so here we are. Yeah. And this tonight is called Loving on Empty. Loving on Empty. That's right. Loving on Empty. Now, this is about the disappearance of the joy juice. And you might be wondering, "Oh, what is she talking about, joy juice?" Well, have you ever looked around at your life and asked yourself a terrifying question? Where did my joy juice go? Nothing excites me. Nothing feels light. Everything feels like an effort. So that's what I'm talking about with regards to joy juice, right? So if you are listening to this right now and you feel completely, utterly flattened, if you realize you've spent the last, I don't know, however many years or more slowly losing yourself while carrying everyone else's weight on your shoulders, welcome to Collie Talks, Transformative Conversations. Because today we aren't talking about theory. We are talking about what happens when high achievers, such as you, healers, such as you, lifelong caretakers, such as you, hit the absolute bone weary wall of loving on empty. You see, for years, maybe decades even, we are conditioned to believe that love looks like sacrifice. We think that if we love hard enough, hold that space long enough, fix the crisis, drive the miles, sit in waiting rooms on zero sleep, absorb the collateral damage of other people's chaos, somehow the math will change. But I have news for you. It doesn't. No, it does not. The math does not change. You reach a point. Maybe it hits you when you look in the mirror or in the middle of a sleepless night when let's say, your back hurts or your gut is tied up in knots. And your body is basically screaming from sheer nervous system overload, where you look at the ledger of your life and ask, what has this actually gotten me? Yeah. What has it gotten me? So ask yourself that now. What has it gotten me? You see, when you've spent so many years trying to you know, to knit a broken family dynamic together, or let's say cleaning up the wreckage of choices that aren't even yours, but they might be from family ancestral, the lineage, right? And how are you to shift this? Because you see, loving on empty stops being noble at this point. It becomes self abandonment. The only way you can shift this is if you do some work with regards to why this pattern, why this hidden loyalty is reoccurring, right? You know, I'm not perfect. And, there have been times before I started doing the work I do now when I actually asked myself that question. I was looking back at the times in my life when I felt truly alive, when I was skating, when I was doing documentary work, when I was, a news reporter. And those weren't just jobs or hobbies. Those were moments when my life force belonged entirely to me. So maybe like you've had those experiences too, not same kind. work, etc. But, over the last 2 decades, ask yourself, where did that energy go? Did you go into managing chaos, putting out fires, acting as the emergency backup plan for everyone else's emergencies? When you spend many years pouring your soul into places that cannot or will not reciprocate, your joy doesn't just vanish, it goes completely underground. It packs its bags and hides because it knows you have nothing left to give. So it's time, maybe to recognize the blueprint and drop the cape. Because here's the brutal, freeing truth. When people we love sabotage themselves, when they repeat cycles of addiction or chaos, it's rarely about us. They are acting out their own unhealed blueprints. But our choice to keep rescuing them, well, that's our blueprint. Hear me out. Our choice to keep rescuing them, that's our blueprint. Now, I'm talking about being a ambulance chaser, thinking you can do a better job at rescuing everyone else's life but your own. Hmm. And I'm speaking from the Temple of Colli here because I did it for too many years. So we think we're being saviors, but all we're doing is robbing them of their own rock bottom and robbing ourselves of our remaining years. It comes down to a thing called learned helplessness, which I'm going to be doing another podcast on because it's so important, right? And loving on empty means you finally have to look at the cape you've been wearing and realize it's a lead weight. Are you going to take it off and believe that you are allowed to take it off? Yes, you are. You are allowed to stop chasing the ambulance. You are allowed to say, I am done. So if your tank is empty this morning, this afternoon, tonight, I want you to know you are not broken. You are not broken. No, you are not broken. You are just exhausted from a long, hard war of trying to be the savior for people who wouldn't save themselves. We cannot save anyone. We cannot rescue anyone. So let yourself be empty for this moment while you're listening to this. Let the grief of those lost years pass through you. Let them wash through you. Because the moment you stop pouring your life force into a bottomless pit, that energy starts to turn back inward. The well then belongs to you again. Yes, the well belongs to you again. You heard me. The well belongs to you again. So please put down the heavy lifting. Protect your sacred energy because your life, your mind, your body, and your art are worth more than being spent on chaos. Thank you for being here with me today on ColliTalks Transformative Conversations. Take care of your spirit, protect your peace, and I will talk to you next time. And when I do, we're going to dive deep. As I always say, we will dive deep. This time, it will be about learned helplessness. So for now, love and soul hugs.